What is up, Black World? Today we're going to discuss the top 5 financial books you need on your shelf. Stay tuned. What is up, your Black World? Welcome. You're here with your host, Chris, and today we're going to talk about the 5 financial books you need on your bookshelf. Now, I did put these in a particular order, going from least to greatest. Yes, I like to say the best for last, so if you're interested in what I think is the best, you can go ahead and skip to the end. Always make sure to like and subscribe. It helps my channel greatly. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first book that I'm going to recommend is a financial book that's for those who are just starting out. I wish I would have got this in high school, but even in the beginning of high school or a college student can use it. The book is called The Wall Street Journal. It's the Wall Street Journal's Guide to Starting Your Financial Life. So, like I said, this is a very basic book, but there's some things that I really like about this book. First and foremost, you can read this book all the way through if you like, but honestly, the book is made to be like more of a hand guide. And this is basic financial literacy. So we're talking about how to establish your checking account, how to establish your savings account, which credit cards to choose if you decide to go that route, how to source a student loan, how to get a mortgage, how to finance a vehicle, different things like that. Oh, also how to finance your retirement account. I wish I would have stumbled across this book when I was 18 years old. It is extremely easy to read and extremely easy to understand. So with this book in mind, I'm gonna roll over to the next book. Now, the next book is also an entry-level financial literacy book, geared more towards the younger crowd, but if you're just starting out with financial literacy, it's a great book to have on your bookshelf for both you and your kids. The next book I'm gonna recommend is written by DK. Okay, that's the publisher. It's called How Money Works. Now, this book is not just focused on personal finance, it's focused on economics and finance in general. Have you ever turned on the news and wondered what stocks and bonds going up and down means to you? Have you ever wondered how does a recession happen? Have you ever wondered what really is money? These are key concepts that you need to learn in managing not only your finances, but knowing how to maneuver through the financial landscape. This book is great for teaching children. It has lots of pictures in it. It's a bare bones book. What I mean by that is that it tells you what you need to know. Why is it important for you? I read a couple of these chapters with my son. Now he's only 8, so he's not ready for a lot of the things in this book, but it's never too early to get him started. Some things that I want to highlight in this book is government finance. So where do recessions come from? If you were like me and lived through 2008, you were kind of scratching your head why, well, how can money just dry up? Also, how financial institutions create profit. There's a good chance that either you're going to 1, start your own business, or 2, work for another business. So it's important to know how these businesses generate a profit. It talks about money basics. Where did money come from? How did we go from a bartering system where we used to trade for things to a system in which we spend paper currency to now a digital system where most of the currency in circulation is digital. Lastly, it touches on personal finance, how to accumulate wealth, how to maximize your IRA, how to invest for the future, how to start a college fund. So be sure to check this out. It's something that you can share with your children, and it never hurts to have it on your bookshelf so you can skim through it. If you hear something on the news that you quite don't understand, it's mostly going to be covered in this book in terms of finance. All right, now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. The next book that I'm going to recommend is called The Millionaire Next Door. Now, this book opened my eyes to a lot of things. This book is written by Thomas Stanley and William D. Danko. What this book gave to me: frugality is the cornerstone of wealth. And what they mean by that is not being a hyper consumer, not going out and spending your whole paycheck. What the book does, it takes you into the homes of millionaires. When the book talks about millionaires, they're talking about 1 to 10 million, since the majority of millionaires in the United States fall in that category. The cool thing about that is that you can make $1 to $10 million in your lifetime. So the book likes to take you into the household and really talks about, how do millionaires spend their money? Do they buy custom suits, or do they buy off the rack? What's the most millionaires have ever spent on a pair of shoes? You will be surprised. How do millionaires choose their house? What do they look for? What is important to most millionaires? And we're talking about millionaires who not only have the millions on paper, their house and assets, but also have the capital. So this is a really good book if you're into studying about how millionaires live and what they do with their time and money. So this is The Millionaire Next Door. I'm going to recommend this book. Go ahead and pick it up and see if you like that. Now we're going to get into the next book. And this is one of my favorite books. I've mentioned it in other videos. And this book is called Dollars and Cents. So if you watch my last video, I talked about dollars and cents, but we're gonna go a little bit more in depth. So this book discusses the psychology of spending. Ideally, why do we feel like we're getting a better deal when we see a marked down price? So have you ever went to the store and saw $59.99 and then it gets marked down and now it's $39.99, or the MSRP and what you're actually getting that out? That's a psychological trick that suppliers do to get consumers to purchase their goods. And even though some of us may know that, it still works pretty well, or else they still wouldn't be doing it. The book also talks about why it's easy to tack on an extra $100 when we've already spent $1,000. Let me give you an example of that. So let's say you make a purchase, you bought a new TV, and the TV is a couple $1,000, and you feel really proud about your purchase. But then the salesperson says, you need a new HDMI cable for that TV. How much is the cable? 50 bucks, 100 bucks. Now, normally if you were just going into the store to buy that cable, you normally wouldn't spend that much money on the cable. But since you've already made the $1,000 purchase for the TV, it's easier to shell out that extra $100 for that added accessory. That's a psychological trick. So pay attention to that. A real important thing that the book is talking about is prolonging pain. So with prolonging the pain of spending, we're talking about using credit cards and what it does to us psychologically when we use credit cards to pay for something versus when we pay for cash. I'm not gonna go too in depth, but imagine this. If you want something, let's say you're making a consumer purchase, when you buy that product, you're gonna spend that money right then and there. And you're gonna look at your bank account that night and you're gonna feel that pain. However, credit card companies, when you use a credit card, you don't feel the pain right away because one, it takes a couple days for that expenditure to hit your account, and then two, you have time to pay that off. So you still have the capital, but you also went to debt buying that consumer purchase. So that's something that it's a psychological trick that we do to ourselves, and this book makes you all too aware of it. The next book that I'm going to discuss is certainly one of the greatest books that I think I have in my library. By reading the book and implementing the things inside of this book, I was able to get myself out of over $10,000 in debt, plus another $8,000 in vehicle debt. I was able to build an emergency fund, and I was also able to fully finance my IRA for the first year, start an IRA, and then raise my credit over 200 points just by using the things in this book. Now, this book is Dave Ramsey's The Total Money Makeover. Now, if you watched a couple of my past videos, you know that I'm a fan of Dave Ramsey. I watch him on YouTube. I watch some of the stuff that he says, and you know, he will tell you, I love his bluntness. He will tell you straight up that you are wasting your money. Now, none of us are perfect with this money stuff, okay? We're all learning, but Dave Ramsey is one of the best people to learn from if you are just starting out in your financial voyage. So I'm gonna touch on some key highlights from this book. I'm not gonna go into each and every one of them, but I'm gonna give you a little tidbit so it'll wet your whistle and get you to go out and actually go purchase this. Once again, I'm gonna put all the links to buy these books in the description down underneath this video, so you can go on Amazon and read a sample of the book and actually buy the book and get it into your library. So the first thing, the zero balance budget. Now, the zero balance budget saved me in a number of ways. So it's creating a budget and accounting for every dollar you spend all the way to zero. So you're not going to have an extra $200 laying around that you can do whatever you want with. It's going to be accounted for. You're going to put that budget you're going to put that money into a category so you can actually spend it and not go over it. Okay. Next is how to save $1,000. This is one of the most key things I took away from the book, is building that first emergency fund. It was hard for me to put $1,000 away when I first started. Next is the debt snowball. This is one of the most powerful methods to get out of debt and pay off all the things that you owe, whether you have things in collection or you currently have debts that you need to settle. The next one is actually finishing your emergency fund. So we're supposed to have 3 to 6 months, preferably even 9 months of emergency savings. So that's what you need to survive per month times 3, 6, or 9. Next, the book discusses maximizing your IRA or maximizing your retirement, whether it's a 401k or an IRA, traditional Roth. Now, by all means, I'm no financial guru. I'm not any of that. But at the same time, this book has helped me to start my own IRA. And also it helped me to invest when I was in the military. Also the college fund. So with this book, I've started a 529 for my children to try to get them a leg up. So when they go to school, they're gonna have some change to play with, and then they can make better decisions. They won't have to go as in debt, or hopefully not into any debt at all to go through college. Lastly, the book talks about paying off mortgage. So if you're a homeowner and you're looking at, how do I pay off my mortgage? I have a 30-year mortgage. You don't want to spend the next 30 years of your life paying that off. Through strategic budgeting, you can put more into your mortgage to help you pay off that house a lot sooner. So this book has financially changed my life in more ways than one. It helped me start budgeting. And like I said, I'm not perfect with this financial stuff. I'm still learning just like you all. This book has given me the most out of any financial book on my bookshelf. I go back and I read it often. And when I feel like I'm slipping, or when I look at my budget and something is not quite meeting, I like to go back and say, hey, where did I slip up? So this is the best one. If you don't have this book, I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can go down and get it, and make sure that you add it to your library collection, okay? So this is Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover. So those are my recommendations for the top 5 financial books that you need on your shelf. Whether you're just starting in your financial journey, you're coming from a bad place like I did, where your credit score was really low and you had a lot of debt and you didn't have any savings and you were going from paycheck to paycheck, or you just need to retune some things to get right back on track, those books will get you going in the right direction. Be sure to hit like and subscribe to my videos. It helps my YouTube channel out. If you would like to see me read another financial book, drop that title in the comments. I'll do my best to read the book, and then I'll share what I think about the book and what I don't like about the book. All right? Thank you. And as always, live deeply and smile.